Part two? Is this part two? I live I bet to get here, it's about a mile from where I live. And this is December 16th. And last Thursday was the last final for the university. And so they'll be open this week, and then they're closed for Christmas. But most of the students are gone. Most of the 25,000, 30,000 students aren't on campus. So this is the time for me to come down here and enjoy the library and getting coffee and ham and cheese croissant. And this is a staycation, as they say. I'm not going anywhere, but since they left, it's changed the dynamic for me. So I get this. And this is a public university. If you want to go even further, it's a land grant university created by the government after the Civil War, like many others. So we promote higher education. That's good. We promote it. We the people. So if you're a farmer or a nurse or a policeman or a carpenter, factory worker, you've paid for this too. Taxes help pay for this through over 100 years for this campus. It's like almost 100, 150. It's probably over 150. So this is created by Americans, paid for, and improved. As I said, they're working on so many places around the university. This is my hometown. They're always working on something. It's got to be over $1 billion, I would say, in the last 10 years, maybe. What's that, 200 million a year? No, that would be, I'm not that good at math. 100 million a year. I'd say that's not out of the ballpark. It's a lot of money. And if you want to take a class, you don't have to try to get a degree. Just take a class or two. If you're retired like me at 66, I think you can audit. I think it's called audit. Classes for free. I've thought of that, but just haven't pulled the trigger. I read a bunch by myself. This is a great book. Constitutional Convention. The only one I've read by a woman, but one of my favorites. One of the top. She writes really well. I'd recommend that. I write songs. I want to write a musical or at least an album. And this is a bunch of notes I've taken or typed up or quotes about the Revolutionary era, the Constitution era, 1770 to 1800, something like that. Creating a government for, of the people, by the people. And yeah, I mean, only white men of property could vote. So it wasn't as good as it is now. But a lot of people are trying to restrict voting. A lot of money. What did Trump say once? He said this. He doesn't have a filter. He goes, "We're never going to win another election legally because the youth are more democratic. They're more for the Democrats and the left, and taxing the wealthy and helping the poor and helping the middle class and the lower income." It's true. So the richest man in the world spent $280 million to help elect Trump. Is that America? Is that democracy? What is that? Plutocracy? Oligarchy? Supreme Court, I forget what case it was. Citizens United, that's what it was. I think it was 5-4. All the Republican judges. You can spend as much as you want on elections. That's freedom of speech. The 4 Democrats said, no, man, this is not how a democracy should be run. This is not the general welfare. This is not a more perfect union. No, we are not creating a more perfect union. We're creating the rich and the poor. And people struggling. You could say, are you poor? And say, I'm not poor, but I'm struggling. So it depends how much we love each other. Really. It depends how much we love each other. And we don't love each other very much right now. And you can say, I'm just trying to deal with what, it's on my plate and that's too much, actually. Well, you always have to deal with that. Yes. Survival. But if you don't deal with how do I treat my fellow human being, what kind of community do I want to live in? What's a good nation? What's a bad path? You have to think of that. I'm sorry. You're a citizen. You're a citizen of the world. I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry. But you have a responsibility. You have a challenge. We all do. And it's a fantastic and overwhelming challenge. And you do the best you can. And the best you can is not neglecting it, avoiding it, denying it. We deny so much. We've been taught to deny. We elected a party that denies climate change. You don't think there's climate change? You don't think that's real? It's December 16th in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's about 60 degrees. I think we had the warmest autumn of all time. I told a friend we're going to have the warmest December of all time. And usually that breaks the record from last year. And next year will break this year's record. And that will include changing crop cycles and what you can grow, what you can't grow. I'm not even talking about all the species extinction, killing species that the great creator or God or whatever you want to call it created, but we're just destroying them like, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with global warming. I'm just going to deny it. Just say it doesn't exist so I can focus on my life. It doesn't work like that. Inflation's going to jump up more and more because of global warming, because of these superstorms. Tired of reading the storm and the flood was one in a 100-year flood, 1 in a 1,000-year flood. No, it's not. Things have changed. All the fossil fuels that have been burned for over 100 years, it's not just our fault, but it's coming to fruition right now. It's our challenge. It's our duty right now. My dad was a good man, but he had no idea what global warming was. But I do. It doesn't snow here anymore. It used to snow when I was growing up. It doesn't snow. I helped clean up Joplin, Missouri after the terrible tornado. Mile wide, just slowly goes through the town and takes out a third. Who's supposed to pay for all that? What happens if it happens to your house? Who's supposed to help you? We're not into helping other people until we need the help. And it's like, man, I need the help. Yeah, they do too. There's people, millions today, that don't have a home or are paying way too much to slumlords or landlords that charge way too high a price because they can. No community, no love, no connections, taking advantage of each other. You need to learn more about monetary policy and fiscal policy and tax policy and private equity and hedge funds, big banks. I do too. I need to learn more about all that stuff. All that stuff is helping destroy democracy, concentrating wealth. If you concentrate wealth, that means you're going to take the wealth from over here and concentrate. Well, what's over here? Millions and millions of people. It's like a slave state. It's like a plantation. You can deny all you want, watch football and go shopping all you want. But don't complain if you're not helping deal with the issues. We need good citizens. I taught government. I believe in democracy. I believe in citizenship. I believe in equality. I believe in you. I believe in us. I believe in humanity. I think love is inside of all of us. And we want to be loving. We want to be caring. We want to live a good life surrounded by other people living good lives. That's what we want. But that's not what we're doing politically. And politically determines what happens. Trump wants to take down the government, put people in charge of departments that hate the department and destroy the Department of Energy or Department of Education or Department of, we've got some bad karma coming at us. But we can survive and heal and thrive later. But we made a bad mistake, and we're going to have to deal with that. You always deal with your mistakes. Me too. And you're human. You're going to make mistakes. Sorry. So anyway, I want to be positive. I told a friend of mine that I do these videos. Not that many people watch them, and he said, "Well, it's an archive." And I like that. It's an archive. Maybe in the future, a few people will watch it, or my grandkid. Try to make some sense. Try to connect. Try to care. Try to love. Try to be real. One thing about being a good citizen is communication, information, and talking about how you feel and what you think's going on, and how we can create a better world, a more perfect union. That's a good. My favorite sentence of all time is the preamble. And if I had a better memory, I'd quote it to you, but I don't. And I'm not going to beat up myself for not having the best memory. I was a decent history teacher because I was prepared, but I knew history teachers that could just stand up and lecture for an hour off the top of their head, and really interesting and enlightening. And that wasn't me, and that's fine. Everybody's different. I think one good thing about me is my students knew that I cared about them, and they cared about me, and that's the bottom line. And you weren't going to mess with my kids, whether you were in my class or outside the class, because they were in my charge. Is that the right term? Anyway, I was like an uncle. I've told teachers before, don't be their friend. You're not their friend. They have friends, or you're the teacher. You're like an uncle or an aunt. That's who you're like. You care about them. You want what's best for them, and You'll also tell them when they're doing something wrong. Maybe that's who we need to be just in general. Uh, Teaching at a public school was awesome. I loved it. Great colleagues, great kids. Administrators were usually pretty good. The cooks, the librarians, the secretaries, the janitors, the bus drivers, low income, high minority school. Like I said, it was fantastic. And when I'm talking about, you're gifted somehow, more than one way. You're beautiful in different ways too. I remember talking to a guy once about a girlfriend I had, and he said he didn't like this and this and this. He named like 3 things about her. And I said, man, you're not even looking at the same thing I am. But everybody's different. I remember talking to a bus driver, and the bus driver, I was a teacher, and the bus driver said, man, I can never do what you do. I can never be a teacher, all these kids and stuff. I told him, I said, man, I could never do what you do. I couldn't be a bus driver. Driving something that's like 40 feet long, and 40 kids are behind me, and I don't know what's going on. And if I want to know, I have to look in the mirror, but I need to see what's happening in front of me. Oh, no, I wouldn't want to be a bus driver. Mm-mm. So you're gifted at some things, and you're not gifted at some things. Welcome to the human race. So I'll end this 17 minutes. Just treat yourself right. I'm sorry if you're in poverty. I'm sorry if you're struggling. I'm sorry if you've been abused. I'm sorry if you feel unloved. You don't deserve any of that. We've been born into this place. And it's imperfect. And we've let selfish desires, greed, covetousness destroy a lot and create a place that's rather unholy. We deserve better. We deserve better. And we need to create better. And we need you as a citizen to help us do that. I hope you have some good people around you, even if it's 2 or 3, if it's family or friends. We need to make contact. We need to have friendships. We need to communicate. We need to witness and testify. We need to exercise. We need to eat right. Get your vegetables. I'll tell you this from a guy that's had trouble with his teeth forever. Let's see. Floss, interdental brushes, some type of, what's it called? Water pick, electric toothbrush, and non-alcoholic fluoride mouthwash. 5. This will help you. This will help you keep your teeth, help you keep your teeth healthy. I water pick once a day. I told that to the lady at the dentist's office, and she said that's okay because it's something about 24 hours. But take care of your teeth because you need them. Hemp seeds is a superfood. Omega-3, omega-6, and complete amino acids. You can add those to scrambled eggs. You can add them to salads. You can add them to soups, anything. Walnuts. What's the walnuts have? The only nut with omega, is it omega-3 or omega-6? Two of the top vegetables are spinach and broccoli. Carrots are affordable and good for your eyes. We need to help each other take care of ourselves. And that's what I'm trying to do. Achieve potentials. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. At the top, the bottom is food, water, housing, safety. Don't forget those for everybody. Safety. There's a lot of places where people don't feel safe. We need to destroy the ghetto and make nice places for everybody. Me and you don't deserve a nice place, but these people don't. We're all children of God, if you want to call it that. But at the top of the pyramid hierarchy of needs is, love, self-esteem, but achieving potentials. And like my mother, who was such a great mother and loving woman, as a secretary, as a librarian, as a secretary at Washington School, which is kind of cool. That's where my dad went almost 100 years ago. But her potentials may be different than a scientist. Maybe her potentials is loving as many people as possible, as well as possible. And you probably have more than one potentiality, or maybe you have different potentials. But I hope you achieve those. And the way for most of us, or all of us, to achieve our potentials is to create a good society. We haven't done that yet. Let's go. Let's go do that.